Welcome to the Nerdy Multiverse. We just recently finished seeing the new Marvel movie, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And of course, we have got to talk about the movie and give our thoughts on it as well as talking about that ending and mid-credits scene. The majority of this video until near the very end will be completely spoiler-free, so no need to worry about any sort of spoilers for the movie until I have given that warning towards the end of the video. But with all of that mess out of the way, let's start with our thoughts on the movie. So really, overall, this movie was really great. In my opinion, it was incredibly emotional, beautiful, had great action sequences, and the acting was phenomenal as well. And so was the overall storytelling, and it definitely introduced a lot to the MCU, and this was definitely a great ending to the fourth phase of the MCU. And you know, of course, we have to go in depth on why we enjoyed this movie and everything we did enjoy about it as well. This movie, and obviously the director and co-writer Ryan Coogler, and of course the cast of the movie, did such an amazing job and an emotional and beautiful way with paying tribute to our T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman. And every single time they were honoring him on screen within this movie, it was incredibly emotional. I mean, not only myself, but others in the theater cried throughout this entire movie just with how emotionally beautiful it really was. And of course, the mid-credit scene in the movie expanded upon this even more, but of course we have to talk about that a bit later in the video and explain the implications that that will have in the future. Like I said initially, the acting performances in the movie were incredible. Shuri, Ramonda, and Namor were really big standouts for me personally, and really any other character, if I'm being honest, did such a great job showing their emotions, going with the storyline, and all of that sort of stuff. Characters like Shuri and Ramonda were just absolutely filled with emotional and heart-grabbing lines and scenes, and they all delivered them so well and really built upon the huge emotional aspect of this movie and all of the characters in it dealing with the loss of their king and the grief to come with that. Give Angela Bassett all of those awards and the praise she can get, because just like she said in the movie as Ramonda, she truly gave us her everything and gave us such a powerful and emotional performance. With the passing of Chadwick Boseman and his absence in this movie, it was a little bit worrisome that this movie could possibly go down the drain and take a step down. But with all of the hardship going on and the loss of one of the greatest actors and our T'Challa, this movie still did such a great job and really took this story in the right direction. And this step in the right direction was all because of Ryan Coogler's work on this project and the women of the beautiful country of Wakanda, who all gave incredible performances and did such a great job with their characters and honoring and carrying that spirit of Chadwick. Really, some of the best performances that I have seen in a movie this year, especially when regarding Marvel projects. And speaking of characters and whatnot, Ironheart was in this movie and she was a great character. And it was of course a lot of fun to see her introduced into the MCU. And I truly cannot wait to see more of her character, obviously with her own series coming soon, and after this movie, I am definitely even more excited for that series. The action in this movie was also great, having full-scale sort of wars, the choreography, and all of the sort of new aspects coming to these fights with characters that are extremely strong, being that of Namor going up against our favorite heroes. And on the topic of Namor, I really enjoyed his character, and seeing him introduced into the MCU was amazing. I loved the changes that they did with his cinematic version of the character, and him having his own beautiful cultural background in the movie, and all of the cultural stuff in this movie as a whole was amazing and truly beautiful to see and hear about. And yet again, with the Black Panther franchise in the MCU, both of their movies have brought us such amazing, sympathetic, and extremely compelling villains, first with Killmonger and now with Namor. And with all of this stuff in the movie, whether it was the emotion, the great storytelling, the great action, and a good, compelling antagonist, the movie managed to fit all of that into a singular movie while also giving us a compelling story about grief, loss, and vengeance. With the first Black Panther film, with all of the greatness that came with it, there were also a lot of issues regarding some stuff, specifically just the special effects, to be honest, which I never really pay attention to as much as other things in movies, but you have to mention it in a review because it has an impact impact on the cinematography and stuff like that. And I will say that compared to the first film, Wakanda Forever definitely took it up a notch, and there really weren't any botchy shots or anything like that. The entire movie was beautifully shot, every character looked incredible, whether it was their character designs or their special effects. With all of this amazing stuff to come with Wakanda Forever, and it only being the spoiler-free side of the movie, I wanted to also quickly touch on the spoilery side of this movie as well, and just some of the things that really stood out to me when it came to that, and stuff that felt really special and will continue to also introduce more implications into the MCU in the future. So with that, this is your spoiler warning for those that have not seen the movie yet. If you do not wish to hear about any spoilers, you can skip ahead in the video a bit, or just come back when you have seen Wakanda Forever for yourself. But remember, you have been warned. With that out of the way, let's touch on some of the spoilery stuff in the movie that stood out to me. So, with the character of Namor, there were questions regarding whether or not he would actually be a mutant in the movie like he is in the comics. And it was said in the movie that he is in fact a mutant, or at least that is what he refers to himself as, and I really liked how they kept that aspect of his character when introducing him to the big screen. With the big stakes that someone as strong as Namor would bring to this movie, it was almost bound to happen. Someone was either going to get hurt, or we would even lose somebody in this movie, especially due to Namor's ruthlessness in the film. And we did in fact lose Queen Ramonda after Namor started flooding different buildings in Wakanda. And man, was her death incredibly emotional. Especially stacking that on top of all of the T'Challa stuff already going on in this movie, her death really hit hard. And obviously, with there being an absence of a Black Panther as seen in some trailers, there was a female in a Black Panther suit taking on the mantle to protect Wakanda from Namor. But it was never really confirmed who was going to be in that suit, rather it was just speculation and rumors going off of what happened in the comics. And yeah, Shuri is the one that takes on the mantle in the movie, just like she did in the comics, and she actually recreates the heart-shaped herb in the movie, and she was very impressive as the new Black Panther, and her character definitely brought aspects of all of the former Black Panthers as well. Whether it was initially having that anger and vengeance that was in Killmonger, who we even got to see in the movie in the astral plane, which was awesome, or whether it was the heart and the love that T'Challa had for not only his people, but others as well. And I almost forgot to mention that Valentina Allegra was actually in this movie and had a lot to do with the attacks or operations that America and its forces had with Wakanda and Vibranium. And it was also sort of talked about that her and Everett Ross were together at one point. And seeing her in this movie and the formation of the Thunderbolts team, and of course the confirmation of that movie itself and her involvement in it, is definitely going to play into some big things in the future, I am sure. And as I was saying, with all of the emotion, grief, loss, and vengeance in this movie, when it came to the loss of T'Challa and Chadwick, all of the flashbacks of T'Challa were so emotional, and the Marvel intro for the movie, being of just T'Challa and Chadwick of course, was so beautiful. On that topic, the mid-credits scene for this movie, we learn that T'Challa and Nakia did in fact have a child together, and she ends up introducing him to Shuri in this mid-credits scene. And the child's name is even revealed to be T'Challa as well, which is such a beautiful and honorable way to carry on the legacy of the first T'Challa. Rather than recasting, regardless of your opinions on that matter, I feel and think as if the introduction of T'Challa's son, and his son also being named T'Challa, is their perfect way to carry on that character, but in a sort of different way. Obviously, it won't be Chadwick Boseman, and who knows, maybe the child won't even become Black Panther for a very long time, and also maybe him and Shuri could possibly become a duo sort of team, both being Black Panthers. But we know that the character's legacy is being carried on in his own son, and Chadwick's legacy will forever live on in these movies. As I do not believe, and I am glad that the Black Panther franchise will not be going anywhere anytime soon. Besides the spoiler side of this movie and all of the sort of more in-depth thoughts on Wakanda Forever as a whole, this was by far my favorite MCU project and movie to come out this year, and if I really had to give it a rating, I believe that I would give it around a 9 out of 10 or so. know. The movie brought such an amazing theatrical experience as well, and everyone in the theater clapped at the very end of the movie and everything. I truly loved this movie and I cannot wait to see it again. That's about it for our thoughts on the movie, I think, but if you have seen Black Panther Wakanda Forever yourself, we of course want to know what you thought of it, so make sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments. With all of that being said, thank you all for watching. If you are new here and want more nerdy content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on. And if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like on it. As I always say, we will see you all the next time that we go through and explore the nerdy multiverse.